Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Now Clean Air, Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And there's no coming up today. It's just here.
It's the Argle-Bargle episode, everybody. Today, we talk about Antonin Scalia.
Bring me back steak. Make sure it's bloody. Nice and bloody.
Yeah. As you all know by now, there's no scoop here.
What?
Mr. Scalia has
thought we had it, Dan.
shuffled off this mortal coil.
I thought we knew before everyone else.
We've got this just in. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia is dead.
79.
Yep. So we're going to chat all about that.
Yeah.
The entire show dedicated to this.
Yeah. The suspicious nature of his death.
The circumstances surrounding his death are highly irregular, according to some people.
And we'll be getting to that stuff.
We'll be talking about his legacy and all that sort of thing.
We'll be going through his record and who he was.
Yeah.
As a man.
As a jurist.
As a member of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Of the United States. The SCOTUS.
The SCOTUS, here he is.
Yes.
All right. So let's start in with some with just who he was. He was appointed. He was what, a Reagan appointee?
Yes.
So appointed to the court way back then in the 80s,
and a reliable conservative.
I think that is about as understated as you could possibly make that. He was a dyed-in-the-wool Christian protecting, Jesus-loving,
religious belief in general protecting.
Yes,
he was all about freedom of religion.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, I
think he was about Christian privilege.
Yeah, I mean that. Yes, he didn't check that privilege at the door.
No,
but I found this case I had never heard of this decision about. It was the Church of Lukumi Babalu versus the city of Hialeah.
Oh,
okay. He was in part of the majority opinion that when the court struck down a Florida city ordinance prohibiting animal sacrifice as part of a religious ritual or ceremony. The court found that the ordinance specifically targeted the Santeria religion and did not pass the strict scrutiny test. In the decision, Kennedy stated, because Kennedy wrote the majority opinion,
right?
Religious beliefs need not be acceptable, logical, consistent, or comprehensible to others in order to merit First Amendment protection. So, I mean, he did side with just religious freedom.
Sure.
In general.
Sure.
So,
oh, my gosh. Well, I mean, in that sense, a Christian, a dyed-in-the-wool, like defender of Christianity can't get too uppity about animal sacrifice, considering that, the Bible's just chock full of it.
Yeah.
Although that kind of consistency has never been the hallmark of conservative Christianity.
No,
they're not really good at that.
No, but so I wouldn't want to paint him too much into a little corner
Christian
about
corner,
just being. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, okay,
it's only one example.
Let's talk about some other cases that he was instrumental in.
Yeah, let's do it.
He was instrumental in the Burwell v. Hobby Lobby case.
Oh, recently.
Yeah, yes. You'll recall that case. It was 2014. And Hobby Lobby basically wanted to what was it? It was to do with Obamacare, right? It was to do with Hobby Lobby not wanting to have to provide
contraception coverage.
Or birth control coverage for their employees. Mm-hmm. And Scalia, he had a beautiful quote in his in the oral arguments. He said, "Well, religious beliefs aren't reasonable. I mean, religious beliefs are categorical. It's God tells you. It's not a matter of being reasonable. God be reasonable. He's supposed to have a full beard. I don't know what that last bit means, the beard thing, but I love that he was just pointing out that, yes, religious beliefs aren't a reasoned thing.
Huh. Well, I mean, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, they're not reasonable
not.
at all.
They're not. Thank you, Scalia.
Yeah, right.
On the record.
Right. Well, and I think that points out the real problem with Scalia is that he sided with his religion. I mean, for all of his talk, and believe me, kids, this man loved to talk about how much he protected the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
And the Constitution to him is not a living document that can change over time, but as he pronounced it, it is dead, dead, dead. He literally said that.
Okay.
And so, like, to him, he was an originalist. This was an unchangeable document. Except that he was willing to ditch out on that particular ethic plenty of times.
Oh, yeah.
When it ran afoul of his religious beliefs. So, or just anything. I mean, if he had a belief, that was going to take precedent over the dead, dead, dead document. Yeah,
I've never understood. I just cannot wrap my head around trying to uphold the Constitution in its original form as being some sort of value or like I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you it's a document that was written, over 230 years ago, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
At this point, somewhere around there, right?
Sure.
All over 2 centuries ago.
1780s or 1790s.
Yeah. Like, why would you, it was a different time, and it was different.
Well, and the founders,
mores. They were making different compromises than we would need to make today.
Well, and the men who wrote it specifically wrote in ways to change it, like mechanisms by which it can be changed, because they knew they weren't going to get it exactly right the first time.
Right.
They did the best job that they could, and they did, frankly, quite a good job.
Right.
But the way that they've set up our country was, it wasn't the result of divine intervention. It was a bunch of compromises.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of
large states versus small states, and slave states versus non-slave states, and trying to get these issues worked out. It's a document of compromise of an era, and I just don't get how you could look at it and go, yeah,
that's it.
We're
done.
And I don't even
that'll last for eternity.
Right.
That's the perfect document forever. Only a believer in the Bible
could possibly
go down that road.
Yeah.
Someone who believes already that there are documents which you cannot fuck with that are perfect forever.
Because God was involved.
Even though, I mean, the Bible itself changed plenty over time. And oh yeah, sorry.
Dan. We're here to talk about Scalia.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we talk, so with Scalia, things like, I feel like it's so inconsistent for him to have claimed that he was so into the originalist view of the Constitution, and then he sides with the majority on Citizens United.
Yeah.
Which basically grants personhood to corporations.
Yeah.
The founding fathers of our country largely hated corporations as institutions. They were so opposed to that and wanted and literally were writing protections for people against corporations and against government, and it was all about rights. This is the Bill of Rights of people, not of groups.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. What else have you got? Do you want to talk about another case that he was involved in?
Let's see. Let me pull that page back up. Yeah, nothing as good as the Lukumi Babalu. Let's see. There was, there was this whole thing about like prayer at schools and public schools, right? At like specifically like commencement ceremonies and like sporting events, that kind of stuff. Sort of, schools bringing in a minister to conduct some sort of prayer, right? And let me see if I have that pulled up. Where was that? Okay, yeah. So this was actually back in the early 90s.
Okay.
Lee versus Weissman. And this is a dissent, right? This is where the court actually ruled that public schools may not sponsor ministers to come in and do like a non-denominational prayer.
Right.
So the court found in this case that the state acting through schools cannot coerce students to face the social dilemma of either participating in or protesting a prayer that they disagree with. Okay. So Justice Kennedy wrote the
dissent?
No, not the dissent.
The prevailing opinion.
The opinion, right, exactly. He wrote, the embarrassment and intrusion of the religious exercise cannot be refuted by arguing that the prayers are of a de minimis character, since they are an affront to the rabbi or those for whom the prayers have meaning. And since any intrusion was both real and a violation of the objector's rights. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Scalia was he dissented in this case. And God, this stupid lingering cold. So he goes on to say that, he just cannot possibly understand this coercion thing, right? So Scalia ends up responding to the majority's opinion, saying that the court, with nary a mention that it is doing so, lays waste a tradition that is as old as public school graduation ceremonies themselves. And that is a component of an even more longstanding American tradition of non-sectarian prayer to God at public celebrations generally. As its instrument of destruction, the bulldozer of its social engineering, the court invents a boundless and boundlessly manipulable test of psychological coercion.
Yeah, he was obstinately able to ignore the feelings of any non-Christians.
Oh, yeah.
He was amazingly good at, not being able to see that there was any harm ever done by any Christian prayer or any... you can't say that there's any harm there. That's ridiculous. That's a silly notion. I wanted to talk about Obergefell versus Hodges. I think that's a pretty important one to all of, especially to you gay folks. That's the one where the Supreme Court made it so that everyone in America can marry somebody. That they're actually attracted to.
What? That's ridiculous.
Scalia, of course, dissented from this opinion.
He did?
He did not like that.
No
gay marriage.
Side on the side of love.
He said, those civil consequences and the public approval that conferring the name of marriage evidences can perhaps have adverse social effects, but no more adverse than the effects of many other controversial laws. So it is not of special importance to me what the law says about marriage. It is of overwhelming importance, however, who it is that rules me. Today's decree says that my ruler, and the ruler of 320 million Americans coast to coast, is a majority of the 9 lawyers on the Supreme Court.
Coast to coast.
Because their job is not to interpret the law?
Yeah.
What the hell? They were doing their job, and he's like, "Aha! This makes us rulers."
Yeah.
He loved to do that. He loved in his art, in his dissents.
Yeah.
If he agrees with the majority opinion, then it's obviously the right thing, and it's law. He's
right.
supporting the law.
Right.
But if he dissents, then the whole court is overreaching and overstepping, and they don't have the right to say it, and how dare they? And it's so funny. He's such a he was a goofball. Let's jump to some of the quotes that we've found, because I think that we could.
All right. Well, you've got the good quotes, I think, because mine are all just these, opinions where he is dissenting and he's angry, and boy, he could turn a phrase.
Oh yeah,
he could get all angry.
At one point one of the things that I love is that he would use phrases like Argle-Bargle. Let me just point out a couple of things in King versus Burwell. He used this phrase. He said, "The court says there would be no qualified individuals on federal exchanges." Contradicting, for example, the provisions requiring every exchange. This is about the healthcare exchanges in Obamacare.
Yeah.
And he says the contradicting, for example, the provision requiring every exchange to take the interest of qualified individuals into account when selecting health plans. Pure applesauce.
You gotta wonder what this guy was really like.
Yeah.
Just like the day to day. I'll bet he's your neighbor.
I will say this: having a beer with that guy, I'll bet he would have been entertaining. I'll bet he would have been a great guy to have a beer with.
Yeah.
If you can stand being next to somebody who's so hateful about gays and so hateful about somebody. He had this great thing. Here's another good quote from him. He's talking about this is from King versus Burwell, which is Obamacare, another Obamacare thing.
Okay.
Which he says the court's next bit of interpretive jiggery-pokery involves other parts of the act, blah, blah, blah. I just love it. He's like jiggery-pokery and Argle-Bargle and applesauce. This is the kind of turn of phrase that Mr. Scalia was famous for. Here's a good quote. This isn't a court case or anything. This is just something that he said. He's the father of 9. P.S. Did you know that he had 9 kids?
Yeah, I heard that recently. I heard that in part of the coverage. They said father of 9, grandfather of many. I think is what they said.
Technically of 36.
That's many. Yeah.
Here's what he said. Now, if I was his oldest, I would be wildly offended by this.
Okay.
He said, in a big family, the first child is kind of like the first pancake. If it's not perfect, that's okay. There are a lot more coming.
Oh. Oh, no. And the last 3 are just what? Mickey Mouse pancakes?
Yeah, exactly. They're
bunch of silver dollar little tiny pancakes.
They're the ones that you're going to throw away later anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Just get freezer burn. Okay.
One of the other things that he did, I don't know. I think this is very telling about Scalia. In one of the things that he wrote on Webster v. Reproductive Health Services.
Ooh.
This was, I think, what Scalia was hoping for was that this would be would overturn Roe v. Wade.
Ah, okay.
And basically what he ended up saying, because Sandra Day O'Connor had decided that basically decided in favor, had swayed the court to keep Roe v. Wade in place.
Right.
And basically he said that her opinion on the matter was irrational and, quote, cannot be taken seriously.
Wow. Was it also her time of the month?
One imagines that it must have been. What with her...
You're that irrational woman.
What with her obvious hysteria and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like to paint him as necessarily sexist, but that just feels really yucky.
Well, what it lacks is a certain self-awareness with regard to talking about a female colleague.
Yeah.
It's really important to be careful not to use the irrational word when talking about women who you work with.
Especially when talking about a member of the United States Supreme Court. Like,
Right.
you don't get, like, he of all people should know, you don't get there without, having a respectable intellect.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So to call her irrational...
None of these people are dingbats.
No.
I mean, notice we're not taking pot shots at Scalia.
We're not taking pot shots at his intelligence
No.
or at his... Yeah, we're...
Right? Like...
It's not like he's dumb.
No.
None of these... You don't get to there if you're dumb.
Yeah. He had a hell of a career.
Yeah.
He was a smart guy. We just disagree with the man.
Right. So literally, calling anyone on that court irrational in a decision that they've clearly put, like, rational thought into?
I don't know. Maybe if you're on their level...
You can call you can...
Maybe not just... I don't know. Anywho...
I still think it's sexist.
It feels a little... she was the only female member of the court at the time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
Wasn't she the first?
She was, and she was a Reagan appointee, right?
Right, yeah.
And...
I mean, basically...
They were relying on her to be a conservative.
And
And she wasn't... not in the way they wanted her to be.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah. And Fisher, and he, not only was he a sexist, I think we can safely pronounce him racist, too, I'm afraid. In Fisher versus University of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
This was where they were arguing. It had to do with was this one? Did this one have to do with affirmative action and that sort of thing?
Yeah. If it's the one I'm thinking.
So here's what he had to say. This is the quote. There are those who contend that it does not benefit African Americans to get them into the University of Texas, where they do not do well, as opposed to having them go to a less advanced school, a slower track school, where they do well.
It's shocking the implications of what he just said.
Yeah.
Now, I honestly, I almost feel like it's a misspeak on a certain level, right? Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
It's so bad.
It just sounds like if nothing else, he's completely out of touch with how we speak about members of other races in this country.
Well,
right?
It's not just how we speak about it, but
and how we think about them, and how...
I mean, he's kind of in touch with how racists speak about people of the... Like, it's not that he's out of touch with... There's plenty of Americans who believe that way.
Well, that's true, but it's just... He left out a lot of key words that needed to be said in this sentence along with it.
Well,
I mean,
basically, he's just saying, black guys are too dumb to go to
that's
good
what
schools.
the sentence is saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not saying...
If they go to like a dumbed down school, they'll do good.
Right.
But
what he's doing is he's
this
saying...
is not an out of context thing. I'll go on with the
I
quote.
know. I know.
Here
It's
comes
not
the
out
rest of the quote.
context.
I'm going to...
I know it's
just
not.
for everybody. One of the briefs, he said, one of the briefs pointed out that most of the black scientists in this country don't come from schools like University of Texas. They come from lesser schools where they do not feel that they're being pushed ahead in classes that are too fast for them.
Oh my God.
It's
like in his mind, every young black person in this country grew up in the inner city.
Well, not only that,
and went to
but they're stupid.
A shitty school, right?
And somehow they're not able to keep up. They're just not. They just don't have the intellectual capacity for these fast-paced colleges. these universities that go at white person speed. It's unfair to put a black person in that position.
I don't think that's what he was saying. I really don't want to go down the road of trying to defend or figure out exactly what Scalia was saying here. But in my heart of hearts, I truly, truly, truly hope that he was just an old, ignorant man, and he just didn't. I can't defend him.
No,
I can't.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. All right. Well, we're.
Well, here's the deal. He's off the Supreme Court.
Yes, he is, and that's.
And Dan, I want to go to something here.
Okay.
I have somewhere that I'm leading.
Okay.
So, vacancy on the Supreme Court.
Right.
Which means everybody's jockeying, politics are politicking.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And Lawrence Krauss is Lawrence Kraussing.
Oh, that's true.
Have you seen what he wrote in the New Yorker?
I saw that he wrote in the New Yorker.
Yeah. He wants an atheist on the Supreme Court. And there is a petition at, what is it, whitehouse.gov, right?
Yeah.
Put an atheist on the Supreme Court. A seat on the Supreme Court just opened up. It's about time for an atheist judge to bring reason, logic, and uphold the Constitution instead of their religious convictions. How many signatures do they need in order for this petition to receive the attention?
Is it, what's the
It's like 100,000.
It's like 100,000.
You have to have 100,000. How many do they have?
10,000.
42.
Okay. Well,
now granted, it only started yesterday.
Well,
but I found this morning, and I've hit refresh a couple times, and it's
they haven't gotten the
43.
They haven't gotten the TGIA bump yet. The bump's about to happen now.
Woo!
So yeah, if you want to, you can go find that.
Petitions.whitehouse.gov.
That petition, and you can sign it.
Search for "put an atheist on the Supreme Court." I'm sure it'll come up.
I think that falls under the category of good fucking luck.
Yeah, somebody needs to edit the statement as well. I don't know that I want to sign it strictly because this person doesn't know the difference between its and its.
Oh dear. Well, it's a spirit.
Possessive pronoun and contraction. Two different things.
Yes, well, it's is a tricky one for a lot of folks. Anywho, you know what? Here's what we should do. Let's take a break. Let's listen to some audio.
We have some audio,
and then we'll talk in the second half about the conspiracies.
This is a deadly gang to mess with. They're deadly. They mean business. This is about ruling the world. And they're Luciferian. They're devil worshippers. That's the other thing. Did we talk about the possible occult connections to this?
We didn't mention it. Actually, I think you're going to talk a little bit with Steve Carell coming up here with it. But in short, Lupercalia began on February 13th.
What is that?
It's an ancient celebration that people date back to Rome, where people come together, they sacrifice dogs, goats, and they do a bunch of crazy stuff with women. It's a fertility festival.
This is an ancient pagan day. And when was it?
February 13th was the beginning of it. It's February 13th to the 15th.
Which was the day he died.
Yes.
Okay, the other thing, and I noticed this. The 13th was the 44th day of 2016.
Right.
Obama is the 44th president of the United States. So you have this numerology thing taking place. Remember Christine Lagarde dropped the zeros? You know, remember that speech she gave last year or so? You know, drop the zeros, click your heels, spin around, all that weird stuff she gave at an IMF speech. I mean, these people they truly are into numerology.
It's their religion.
Yes. So it's like they sacrifice. There's always human sacrifice involved. What else is this what's the name of this pagan day?
Lupercalia.
And it's connected to ancient Rome?
To ancient Rome.
To what did it signify with Rome?
Well, with Rome, the Latin content of the beginning of the word luper, lupus for wolf, it actually signified the birth of the nation, of the empire of Rome.
The birth of the Roman Empire.
I didn't realize.
Okay, now wait a minute. I'll tell you what comes to my mind right now. All right. Washington, D.C. is full of pagan Roman sculptures,
Right.
artwork. There's a lot of pagan Roman stuff in Washington, D.C. And then you have the fascist symbols, what's it, faces? Not feces, faces?
Right.
It's the bunch of, it's the sticks,
Right.
okay? That is where we get the word fascist. And
I
they
didn't
are
realize that.
they are engraved in the U.S. Senate on the wall or the ceiling of the U.S. or it's in the Capitol building. I'm speaking here without my notes, but they're engraved in the U.S. Senate.
And that's where we get the word fascism. Really? I didn't realize that.
Yes. So the birth of the Roman system, the birth of fascism, and it was on that day, the 13th.
Wow. Wow. Now,
So they killed a Supreme Court justice.
on the day of the birth of fascism.
Yes. And they left the pillow on his face, not because they were in a hurry to get out of the room, because they didn't have to worry. Nobody was going to call the police. Think about that. They didn't have to run. They didn't have to hurry. Nobody was going to call the police. They didn't call the police after they found a dead justice.
That's right.
So they deliberately left the pillow on his face
Why?
as a message to everybody else. Don't mess with us. We can murder a justice and get away with it. And I assure you, there's a lot of frightened officials in Washington today. Deep down, they know the regime murdered the justice. And they're not going to mention it. They're not even going to whisper it at the water cooler in the office. They just go about their business. That's how this works. This is the way a dictatorial, fascist, police state regime takes control of a nation.
It's like the mafia.
A mafia. Yes, exactly. Just like the mafia. You just don't talk about it.
The day justice died.
Think about that. The day the justice died, the day justice in America died. They got away with it.
The day justice died.
Oh, the day the justice died. It's like that one, just that word, that one.
Wow, they were really clever.
He was
murdered.
There's meaning there. He was
murdered.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
We should talk. Well,
How?
Yeah, he was murdered.
Who can pull off a murder?
I'll tell you who.
Of a
Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
Luciferian devil worshippers. That's who.
Oh no.
Who are celebrating the Luciferians celebrating Lupercalia.
Lupercalia. Yeah, Lupercalia. The Lupercal.
You know what? Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
If Luciferians are celebrating Lupercalia and they kill someone with lupus, then that's the conspiracy theory.
No.
Then that's the thing. What? I don't know. We'll talk.
And where does the lupa enter into this? The she-wolf who suckled Romulus and Remus on her teats.
See, teats.
Yeah.
Teats are Luciferian too.
Yes. Horrible wolf teats.
Right. And how many wolf teats are there? 6. And that's the devil's number, 666. Do you see how the numerology comes in?
Oh my
Here's what I love.
God.
I love that they get into the numerology, and it's clear that these guys believe in the numerology way more than anybody else.
Well, right.
Way more than like any woo-woo practitioner or whatever. Like these guys are the ones who believe in the numerology.
Yeah. That there's some power there.
Yeah.
Because It's so ridiculous.
It's the 44th day, and he's the 44th president. And what the fuck are you talking about? If he searched for a long time to figure out that coincidence.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
there you go. All right.
I mean, yeah, you can figure out anything. If you want it to be Obama,
You'll sort it out.
you'll sort it out.
Sure. That's one of the easy things about coincidences.
Yeah.
You'll find them if you're looking for them.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to talk about. First of all, you know what we should do? What we should do is we should talk about the circumstances of Mr. Scalia's death.
Okay.
Just so that we have the facts straight, he was found dead in bed at a ranch in West Texas, outside of Marfa.
Also suspicious.
Well, I will say this. The first conspiracy theory I'm going to bring up is one that it isn't really a conspiracy theory, but it's an interesting point.
Okay.
The man who was hosting him at this ranch, John B. Poindexter.
Not a real name.
It doesn't sound like a real name. He owns the Houston-based manufacturing firm J.B. Poindexter and Company, which has a subsidiary called the Mike Group, MIC, which last year had a lawsuit go all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court decided not to take the case.
He's angry.
No, he's grateful.
He was on the wrong side of it.
Benefited from the Supreme Court not taking the case. And then a year later, one of the Supreme Court justices is staying for free at a lavish weekend in Texas. I'm not saying nothing, but
I'll let everybody else connect the dots.
Yeah, draw your own conclusions on that. And while we're talking about frankly, I find suspicious.
This is how it starts.
And this is how it starts. So, if I find that suspicious, then what other people find suspicious is the fact that he dies in bed.
Yeah.
He has a pillow now the pillow thing's interesting because Poindexter originally said that the pillow was over his head. And then he later said that the pillow was actually sort of propped up against the headboard. And not,
so it was looming over his head,
but not covering his face, not like on top of his face. But the initial report was that it was over. It made it very much seem like it was covering his face. The pillow was covering his face, and he was dead. That seems suspicious. Then there was no autopsy done, but rather he was pronounced dead by someone who was not there, which is actually okay according to Texas law.
right?
You can be pronounced dead by someone over the phone. When the police described...
Okay, hold the phone up to him.
Right.
Okay.
Hold the phone up to... Can you put a stethoscope onto the phone so that I can hear his heart?
Put the mouthpiece over his mouth.
Yeah. Nope, I
Okay,
don't.
no breathing.
I don't hear anything.
Okay. I'm going to call it at time of death.
Yeah. The police said that there was no evidence of any kind of foul play or anything like that.
Okay.
But what really happened?
No, this was a professional hit. Would they leave evidence?
Yeah.
These professional hitmen?
No, these are not bumbling fools.
So who sent the hitmen? That's what I don't understand here. Like,
because I mean, we just heard Rick Wiles say that it was Obama.
Really? That's what we're going to stick with?
Well, I'm going to say that that's one of the many possibilities.
Because I personally don't believe it was Obama. I believe that he was murdered, but I don't believe that Obama was involved.
All right, what do you got then?
I'm a reasonable, rational member of
society
of the right.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're not going to buy that it's.
I don't buy that it was Obama.
All right. Well, who was it then?
That's unbecoming of a sitting president of the United States.
I don't know. A secret Muslim sitting president.
The Lizard King.
The Lizard King. Everybody
himself.
A
member of a cabal of lizard men who rule this country.
Here's the thing: if you start down the road of the conspiracy theorists, it does not take long before you get to things like the Lizard King. Do you have something? Do you want to?
No. I was like, why are you pushing me for a suggestion?
Well, it sounded like you were going somewhere.
I wanted to hear what you had to say.
All right. Well,
if you didn't have one, I don't have one.
No, I got one.
Oh yeah,
I got a good one.
Okay.
Lizard King is not is nothing compared to this.
Okay.
Leonard Nimoy had Antonin Scalia killed.
No,
it was Nimoy.
Why?
Nimoy.
Spock.
Yes, our beloved Mr. Spock.
This does not seem like the rational, logical choice, Mr. Spock.
Well, what you don't take into consideration is that Nimoy recently took control of the Illuminati. Leaked reports have identified Leonard Nimoy as the newest leader of the Illuminati.
Of course he is.
While there is much debate, I'm reading directly from a great conspiracy website. While there is much debate about that secretive group's ultimate motives, many citizen journalists by the way, if you encounter the term citizen journalists, that's not a real thing. That does not exist. They suspect that they are expanding their control through both European-style socialism and Bilderberg Group-branded international corporation schemes.
Wait, what did you just say?
Bilderberg Group.
Oh.
Apparently, that is a Illuminati-controlled corporation.
Okay.
That has many subsidiaries.
Build-a-bird? Like Build-A-Bear, but Build-A-Bird?
Bilderberg.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do they do, these Bilderbergs?
They Illuminati.
They illuminate?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they do.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Scalia's death took place near Marfa, Texas.
Marfa. I love Marfa.
Which is reputedly a hotbed of radical liberal activity.
Yeah.
Well known for its alien contact.
Yeah.
And yeah. Mm-hmm. Clearly, it was Nimoy.
Yeah.
This is there are, of course, other theories out there, including Glenn Beck's theory. You ready for Glenn Beck's theory about what happened? God killed him so to save the country. Because God had Antonin Scalia die now as part of his plan to get Ted Cruz into the White House.
How does this get Ted Cruz into the White House?
Well, it wakes up America.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so he didn't technically say Ted Cruz. He basically what he said was this will wake up America to sort of out of the circus atmosphere of the election season and get them really to take this seriously and figure out who we need in the White House so that, we can nominate some more God-loving guys to the court. Probably just specifically guys.
Yeah. I don't know how that's going to play for them. I don't know.
Nothing is going to make Ted Cruz our next president.
No.
There's nothing that anyone could do, even God, to make Ted Cruz our next president.
I don't know. God killed Scalia. If God can get away with killing Scalia, there's nothing that all-powerful, omnipotent being can't do.
All things are possible through God. He seems not to get a lot of shit done, so maybe he doesn't want them. He
did get a lot of shit done. He was once very productive.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day, man, that guy, if he didn't like what you were doing, he'll kill the firstborn son of every family in your whole fucking country.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Unless, of course, you put a little bit of blood over the door.
Right.
And then
then you're exempt.
Then you're exempt.
Right.
He just go, blood over the door.
That is an effective...
disgusting.
That's an effective God right there. Ugh. That's like God will kill every firstborn son, but he will give you guys, his chosen people, the code word to get out of it.
Yeah. Ooh.
That is some good godding right there.
He is diabolical.
He just hasn't done shit like that for a long time.
I know he's gotten lazy.
Now, like, people are evil before, if a whole city was just fallen to wreck and ruin and evil,
Yeah.
he fucking destroyed the city.
Oh, yeah.
And anyone who turned around to look at it.
Yeah.
He will just wreck everything.
Yeah. And I could come up with lists of cities that should be destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
On biblical terms.
Oh,
right?
Hell yeah. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's obvious.
San Francisco?
Yeah.
Las
Vegas,
all
clearly.
That queerness going on?
Yeah.
Sure, Vegas, sure.
Vegas, without a doubt.
New Orleans?
New Orleans.
I mean, he tried to take down New Orleans.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's just
He tried. But again, that's that ineffectiveness.
Yeah, Sodom was gone. Just wrecked completely.
Gomorrah?
Hell, at one point, he killed everybody. He saved 7 people or something and killed everybody. What has happened to that God?
Yeah, he was a little sloppy with that one, too, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he
said he did the whole world. I don't buy it.
You're not.
I don't buy it.
You're not buying it?
Yeah, I think it was just a little,
just that one place.
kind of a rainy afternoon, and everybody just kind of.
There was a flash
exaggerated
flood.
little bit. Yeah.
It felt like 40 days and 40 nights.
It wouldn't stop raining.
It was a day and a half, but it felt so long.
I have a feeling the ancients kind of just gave him a pass. They're like, God, this guy, he's like,
Yeah.
I don't have anything.
Here's we're getting back to Scalia.
Oh,
I don't know. Don't we need to? Since that's what the whole show is purported to be about. Oh my gosh, Scalia. So his death has spurred a lot of conspiracy, and we know that we're in now. We get to watch the fun drama play out where the Senate, who has to confirm any appointee that Obama nominates, has vowed that they will stall until a new person.
Wouldn't you too? Wouldn't you do the same?
If I were this Senate, I mean, the Republicans the GOP for the last 12 years or about has been on a strict obstructionist bent. That has been their game plan.
That's their thing.
It's their entire plan. Hasn't worked great for them.
No.
But it's worked okay.
Yeah. But here's I'm not even so much worried about all of that.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I have to just sit back and go, you know what? If the Supreme Court was sort of reliably, most of the time on my side, right? Mm-hmm. And definitely was at least, if nothing else, split a lot.
Right.
Right. On important issues. But if this president, who I don't like, gets to appoint another Supreme Court justice, and it will actually shift the balance of the Supreme Court, I think I would use, as a politician, any
means necessary
maneuver, any means necessary in order to make sure that at least has a chance of, at least there's a different possibility that it's not this guy, right? And who knows? It could still be a member of that same person's party.
Right.
But there's also a chance that it's a member of my party. I have to say, because whenever the politics aren't going your way, right, you always, get all upset and up in arms and then when the shoe's on the other foot.
You think the Democrats would do the same thing in the same situation?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I certainly am not willing to say that they wouldn't.
But I'm saying I'd be willing to in their place.
Would you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Politics. We're not talking about running a country. We're talking about politics.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about the most effective and, conscientious way to run the United States.
Well, the arguments that they're making for not allowing an appointee to go through are all so irrational. Like the argument that, well, the American people should have a chance to have a say in this.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
They already did.
They did.
They voted in Obama,
Absolutely.
so they had their say in it. They also say that they've been saying that no Supreme Court justice has ever been confirmed in the last year of a presidency.
That's not true.
It's so not true. As a matter of fact, I think Scalia himself was confirmed in the last year of a president.
That I don't know. I know there was a Reagan
or maybe it was
appointee.
Kennedy.
Yeah, there was a Reagan appointee. I can't remember. I don't know.
Anyway, they keep saying shit, and all they're doing is saying it.
Right.
It's not. None of it's true. All of it's wrong. But,
but you don't. That's the thing. You don't have to be right.
Yeah, you can just keep repeating.
Yeah.
If you repeat enough, it'll be okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that I think that what they're like as a member of this society and as an American, I think what they're doing is wrong. I think as politicians, I think they're just doing what they do.
Yeah.
You know, and in their place as a craven politician, yeah, I'd probably do the same.
Okay.
You know, because if your game is politics, you do stuff that to the average person
is
abhorrent
appalling.
and despicable, right? Because it's a different game.
Yep, that's true.
But so I really can't blame them for trying. I guess that's what I'm saying.
It'll be interesting to watch.
Blame them for trying.
It'll be interesting to watch and see if Obama can force them to do it. See if there's enough if there's enough pressure.
It's just who plays the politics better.
Yeah, we'll see.
At this point,
we'll see.
It's going to be really interesting because it's where the public opinion ends up.
Yep.
In this, you know, if it can be painted as the Republicans are being racist, or that they're
I'm not worried about that, but they will paint it. They'll paint it as obstructionism of justice of the American way.
I think you have to go a step further, and I think you actually have to start pulling strings and hitting chords that resonate on a deeper level with the vast majority of Americans. The whole obstructionist thing, we've had an obstructionist Republican Party, like you said, now forever.
Well,
hasn't really hurt them that bad. They've had a couple moments where it backfired a little bit. You know, shutting down the government wasn't a great idea.
Right.
That was Ted Cruz, right?
Yeah.
And not so didn't really go well for them politically. Yeah. But nonetheless, they're still around, and they're going to try the same thing again. Yeah. I think
it'll be interesting to watch. I'm just going to sort of as a final note, I think I want to just draw this all back away from the political sphere and back to us and how this affects us.
Atheists
in particular.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. This is a quote directly from Antonin Scalia that I think sort of wraps up why you and I, Frank, had such powerful objection to this man.
Right.
He says, I think the main fight is to dissuade Americans from what the secularists are trying to persuade them to be true. That the separation of church and state means that the government cannot favor religion over non-religion. We do him, meaning God, honor in our Pledge of Allegiance, in all our public ceremonies. There's nothing wrong with that. It is in the best of American traditions, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I think we have to fight that tendency of the secularists to impose it on all of us through the Constitution.
Dear God.
That's what we were up against.
Yeah.
A man who clearly and outspokenly believed that his way of thinking about the universe trumped
everything else.
Yeah. And that's what we were up against.
Yeah.
So
Secularists, be damned.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because they have differing beliefs doesn't mean they're protected.
Suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet that man said this line quite a bit in his life.
Be a man.
He does seem like that kind of a guy.
I bet his poor sons.
Oh.
Be a man. Man up. Why are you crying? Stop crying. Blah, 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 blah.
Argle-Bargle, bargle, bargle.
Here's some raw meat.
I don't know why I'm obsessed with the fact that he ate like raw steaks.
I don't know why either. I don't know.
Or rare steaks rather.
Did you see that Trump takes his steak well done?
No,
I can't believe it. The man.
I can because he's a tacky motherfucker. But like, what?
Yeah.
Well done?
Yeah.
You're running it.
Yeah. Anyway, so you know, it's considered in bad taste to revel in a man's death, but ding dong, the witch is dead. I'm very happy that Scalia is off the court.
That's the key, right? That's where it gets a little complicated for, you know, your conscience a little bit.
Look, the man was terrible for the country, and he's gone.
And the only way to get him off the court was through his death.
Through his death.
And so thank you, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama, for orchestrating his...
and Nimoy.
Like, why did they wait till he was 79?
Why did they wait till... Yeah, they could have done this year one.
Yeah. He was clearly the problem.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, if you guys have anything you'd like to say about Justice Scalia or about our coverage of him, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, we love it when you guys do that. We love to get your voice on the show.
Absolutely.
Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join.
It's a great group. It's a group where you can anonymously, or rather without letting your friends and family know that you're an atheist, you can interact with other atheists and you can have a good time.
Woohoo!
Thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their fine music.
And thanks to Mackenzie for all of her help on Facebook.
Yeah, she has been a wonder lately. She's been helping me vet people for the lounge.
Fantastic!
That's been very helpful. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in to our special Argle-Bargle episode. Next week we will probably return to our regularly scheduled format, unless somebody else dies.
Bye.
Bye, guys.